How are you all doing? Greetings from my hotel room here in Orlando, Florida. For those who don't know, I just left the cruise ship Caribbean Princess. I was on there for 28 days and I was out of Fort Lauderdale. Now I'll be out of Port Canaveral on a couple different ships. I'll be getting on Norwegian Getaway tomorrow, which is my first ever Norwegian cruise and my first ever solo cabin. I'm doing one of their solo cabins that Norwegian is famous for. That'll be 10 days. And then I'll be hopping on MSC Seaside for, I think, 14 days before heading back down to Miami, I believe, maybe Fort Lauderdale. I think it's Fort Lauderdale, and jumping on a princess ship over to Europe. So we're getting ready. We're on the last month of the Caribbean, and I'm excited about trying Norwegian. I'm excited about trying MSC's new ship, and I'm pretty excited about getting out of the Caribbean. I'm kind of burnt out on the Caribbean, although the itinerary that I have coming up is pretty cool. All right, so I am still using my phone today, so it's going to be, the chat will probably start moving pretty fast, and it'll be hard for me to keep up on every question. So if you don't mind putting a couple question marks before your question, or the word question in all caps, and then asking your question, but kind of keeping it as brief as you can, because if they're super long, it's hard to read them on here. Nancy just said, Nancy Ross, how you doing, Nancy? She just said, transatlantic cruises are awesome. I agree about the Caribbean. Yeah, I mean, I love the Caribbean, don't get me wrong, I do. But I've been here for going on my 4th month, and I should have only done 3 months. I should have took an earlier Caribbean cruise, but I really liked an earlier transatlantic, but I really liked the Fire and Ice transatlantic that Princess had offered, so I didn't take one of the earlier ones, which I was planning on doing. Hey, if you guys just joined, if you don't mind smashing that thumbs up, I'd appreciate it. If you saw my last video, you'll know I got a pretty bad case of norovirus, and it lasted around 5 days. I'm still not 100% well, to be honest with you. My guts are kind of messed up from it, but I feel good. I mean, I don't feel sick. I just feel a little bit off, you know. So if you haven't watched that video, go check it out. Lately, my cruising videos haven't been doing well, but that video got a ton of views. I guess people like that kind of stuff, you know. Question, do you use a VPN while using onboard internet? One of the smart things to do, to be honest with you, is to shut that VPN off, and it will usually make your internet a little bit faster. I have not used a VPN on the ship, so the answer to that question is no. Jonathan said, how am I doing? I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I appreciate it. Let's see. Just finished up on Norwegian Escape. Food was great. Recommend targeting the Indian dishes at their primary restaurant buffet. Okay, sounds good. I'll be on Getaway. Super excited about that. First Norwegian ship, first time on an inside cabin, so I'm super excited about it. Lots of people sick when want to learn about sick things. Yeah. And I'm sure that's a concern with people. Question, how to avoid getting norovirus and other kinds of viruses on a cruise? I mean, it's just like coronavirus, you know, wash your hands as much as you possibly can. I mean, I took this out of the video because it was just making the video too long, but I'm kind of a clean freak, and I'm constantly washing my hands, constantly putting hand sanitizer on it, and I ended up getting it. Although I was on back-to-back ships for a month each that both had pretty severe norovirus outbreaks. So it's kind of like I dodged a bullet for 2 months, and then towards the end of it, I got it. So just one of those things, if you're around it enough, you'll get it. It hasn't discouraged me from cruising at all. It's just one of those things, you know. All right, looks like I'm caught up on questions. That's good. Hey, McKenna, how are you doing? Yeah, for those who just joined, I just got off a Princess cruise ship, and I'm headed to a Norwegian, my first ever Norwegian. I'll be in a studio cabin, which will be cool First time ever doing that before, solo cabin or whatever they're called. And it has that, it's specifically why I chose the Norwegian Getaway, because they have those solo cabins and the solo lounge that I wanted to try because I keep hearing so much about it. Can onboard credit be used at the casino? You know, Robert, I don't have a definite answer for that, but I think whatever you spend your money on a Princess cruise, I know other cruise lines are different, but as far as Princess goes, I think you can, but I'm not 100% sure about that. So I'm kind of guessing here, but I think you can. Any tips for, Kat asks, any tips for disembarkation? Seems like no one pays attention. When to depart, many check baggage. So let me give you my strategy. Disembarkation is always super easy for me. So number one, I travel carry-on only. So I just wheel my bag out when I'm ready to leave. I don't have to go searching for a bag or pack the night before. I usually pack the morning of that I'm leaving. I know a lot of people think that's crazy, but I get up at like 7, take a shower, pack, good to go. Packed by 8. Usually you got to be out of rooms between 8 and 9. And then I'll go and sit, I'll get a coffee and I'll go sit at the cafe until they make me get off the ship, which is usually around between 9 and 9:30, usually around 9:30. So I'll stay on the ship till 9:30. I always put my flight a little bit later in the afternoon. And so I've never had an issue. I've never had an issue with this disembarkation. I did get off early one time off an MSC cruise because I had an early flight, and that was a cluster. And that's when I made the decision to never schedule an early flight again, schedule one after noon, and you'll have no problem with disembarkation. You'll get to take your time in the morning. You paid for the cruise. You get to stay on until the cruise is officially over. So, you know, why not stay on and enjoy enjoy another coffee and relaxing in the atrium, and why not? So that's what that's my advice to someone. And even if you're packing not carry-on only, I mean, your bags will still be down there when you get done. You know, when you get off the ship at 9:30 or not between 9 and 9:30, and they'll be much easier to find. Someone asked me about Para DJ. So yeah, Para DJ was on board the ship with me, and I saw them the first couple days of the cruise. But then Jay got norovirus as well, about the same time I did. So his was only 3 days, where mine was like 5 days. So they only did 7 days, so they were off by the time I was well again, and so I didn't get to see them off, but I did run into them and chat with them for a little bit in the atrium. Your room is very clean and very light. I like it. Yeah, that's my bed making skills. I got here last night. The flights were delayed in Florida a ton, by the way. My flight got delayed like 7 times. I didn't actually get into Orlando till like 11 p.m. So I'm overnighting in this hotel for actually 2 nights. This is the first time I've ever had 2 days in between a cruise. Normally my cruises are back to back, like right away. No need for a hotel, or at the most 1 day. But just the way it worked out with Norwegian, I wanted to get on a Norwegian ship. Before I went over to the Mediterranean, and I wanted to try out the solo cabins. So it's just the way it worked out. But yeah, hey, there's 120 people in here. If you guys don't mind smashing that thumbs up button, I'd appreciate it. Let's see. I know there's a bunch of questions, and if I missed yours, I'm sorry. If you were traveling with another person, would your budget be 200? Nah, I wouldn't say it would be double. It'd probably be, instead of trying to get 100 a night, I'd probably try to get like 130 a night, 140 a night, so like $70 a person. You get a much cheaper per night charge when you have more than one person in the cabin. Noro is targeting YouTubers. Yeah, they're trying to take us out. Para DJ in Elite Lounge, waiting to board. By then, he, Kevin, and I all got norovirus. Yeah, Nancy got it as well. Poor Nancy. I was on the ship with Nancy too. I didn't meet her. Yeah. All right. Have you ever participated in a group slot pool on the ship? I have not yet, and I need to. I was going to with the cruise critic group, and then I just completely spaced when it was, and I got down there too late. They had already started, so yeah. Elvis says, will Streamyard come back? It might in the future. It's just so much easier to do this on my phone because I always have high speed on my phone. Like I'm in the Hilton, and even though I get the premium internet because I'm a Diamond member, it's not that great. I thought about doing it on my computer. Also, the camera's so much better on the phone. So, but I'm sure in the future Streamyard will come back. I mean, I still have my account, my premium Streamyard account. So at some point I should probably use it, right? I'm paying for it. But yeah. Why fly instead of checking out the train? Yeah, that's what I should have done, Nikki. Hindsight being 2020. I thought it was just going to be a really quick flight, and the flight was actually super inexpensive points-wise. I have a zillion points, and I think the flight was like 6,000 points, which is like the equivalent of like 60 bucks. And so I just figured, it's cheaper than renting a car, because I was just going to rent a car. I don't know if there's a train. Is there a train that runs from Fort Lauderdale to Port Canaveral? I don't think that's fully done yet, but yeah. Is the fluffier beard here to stay? Yeah, I don't think it's really fluffier. I think it's just I'm in front of the window, so it's a super bright light. Although I haven't trimmed it in a little bit. I'll actually probably trim it tonight before this cruise starts. So then I don't have to get my razor out of my bag, my trimmer out of my bag during this. It's only a 10-day cruise, which I know that's a long cruise for some people, but for me, that's a short cruise. Hey, Robert Mack, how you doing, man? Are you doing better? I know you had knee surgery, so I hope you're recovering well. What is your favorite cruise line so far? Asked Gordon. I would definitely say Princess. I just like the Princess experience so far. It's kind of unfair for me to judge other cruise lines because I've only been on like one ship on each cruise line. So it's kind of unfair for me to judge the other ones. I've only been on one Royal Caribbean ship, and it was a pretty old ship. Although I just came off Caribbean Princess, which is an old ship, 20 years old. And I've been on 3 Princess ships. So it's unfair. And then, of course, MSC, I've only been on MSC Meraviglia, but pretty soon I'll have been on a Norwegian ship, and then I'm going on a newer MSC ship, Seaside, I believe is what it is. It's either Seaside or Seashore. But yeah, so far Princess is my favorite. I just like the Princess experience. I'm not a huge fan of like water slides and stuff like that on cruise ships because I don't use them. You know, maybe I use them once, and then that's it. So it's kind of a wasted. Those kind of things like go-kart tracks and stuff like that are kind of wasted on me because I'm just not going to use them very often. Maybe I'll use them once for the novelty of it, but then that's it. I'm not going to be riding go-karts every day on, on a Norwegian ship, or I'm not going to be, doing water slides every day. It's just not the way I cruise. I like cruises that are more focused on entertainment and different things going on throughout the day. And Princess just fits the bill for me. Some people don't like Princess, That's why I always tell people. A lot of people said I wouldn't like Princess. And that's why my take on deciding what cruise line to do for you is like go out and do the cruise lines. Because people are going to tell you they like a cruise line for this reason or that reason. And the reasons you like cruise lines might be different. I'll give you an example. Everyone was telling me how great Coco Cay was. I don't think Coco Cay is great at all. I really like Royal Caribbean, by the way, the Royal Caribbean experience. But I don't think Coco Cay is good at all. The beaches are terrible. It's pretty crowded. I'm not a big fan of the amusement park in the middle of the island. I much prefer MSC's Ocean Cay over Coco Cay. It's what I think of when I think of what a private island should be. That's what Ocean Cay is. And everyone told me Coco Cay would be my thing. I guess because I used to work at Six Flags a long time ago when I was younger. I don't know. But yeah, I prefer I prefer Ocean K over Coco K, but I prefer Royal Caribbean ships over MSC ships or MSC's experience. But yeah, so I always tell people go out and cruise on some different cruise lines and figure out which ones work for you, because it's just such a different. They're all similar, but they all have these little differences that might fit your personality and might not. Princess so far has just been the one that fits my personality the most, and now I'm elite on Princess, so I get so many different perks that it makes me want to cruise with them. I'm gonna have to. I think on Norwegian, internet's like $30 a night. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's ridiculous. Okay. Let me see. Let me come closer here. Question, do you plan on cruising with Holland America? Yeah, definitely want to cruise with Holland America, Andrew. I own the stock, the Carnival stock, so that's definitely a brand I want to try out because I get, some bennies on board. Marla says Coco K used to be really nice, too built up now. Yeah, I guess I hit it too late in the process. Was wondering if you have a scenic view from your hotel. I wouldn't call it scenic, I'd call it other hotels, although if you like airport type stuff, the airport's right there, so you can watch planes land. It's like right there. There's like tornado warnings all over Florida right now, in the area I'm in as well. And it was really, really stormy yesterday when I came in, and now it's just super windy. I mean, it's like 50-mile gusts out there. It's pretty windy. I'm watching the palm trees it's hard to get those big palm trees to bend, and they're bending. So it's super windy out there. Hey, Jen, how are you doing? Agree about Coco K, overdeveloped? Yeah. I can show you the secret elite handshake now. Yep, I definitely want to learn that. All right. If I missed your question, ask it again. I kind of went off on a tangent right there. TLC Media, good to see you, mate. The medic that attended to you. Take good care. Hey, what's going on? Yeah, so that's awesome. He's got a YouTube channel. He's got 1,000 subscribers. So, there's 150 of you in here. Go help him out and give him some more subscribers. He's the one that came to my room and made sure I didn't have COVID and took good care of me, man. So thank you, TLC Media. That's cool that you joined me here. You must be at sea right now. Let's see, Brightline should start a service. Oh yeah, Brightline. So Brightline's the new train here in Florida, or maybe it's a little bit older now, but yeah, they're supposed to start service from Miami to Orlando. But I wonder if they're gonna go to Port Canaveral. I mean, to Orlando would still be good. You could just take an Uber from Orlando, just like if you flew here. But it'd be really nice if the Brightline, kept going up the coast to, to Port Canaveral, and then, went to Orlando as well. Love Travel says, thanks for normalizing solo cruising. And Princess is my favorite line as well. I love their itineraries. Yeah, Princess is my favorite. As far as solo cruisers go, it's pretty friendly solo pricing, and it's pretty friendly for solos to move up the ranks really quickly. Like you can go from 0 to hero on Princess cruises with, I think, 8 cruises. So 8 7-day cruises, and you can be elite on Princess, which is cool. I just hit elite. All my stuff reflects elite now, but on Monday, tomorrow, I need to call the Captain's Club and get them to change all my future bookings to reflect that I'm elite. It doesn't automatically happen, and while they will make you elite when you're on board, it's better to get all that situated before you get on board, so they already know you're elite when you arrive, and all your benefits that you're supposed to get are happen. Advice on finding good solo prices. So I've got a whole video on that. If you check my playlist, my number one piece of advice to any solo is go to Cruise Plum. A lot of people swear by Vacations to Go, and it's decent, but it's nothing like Cruise Plum. Cruise Plum's so much better. It's a search engine like Google, and it's not a travel agent like Vacations to Go is. It's not a travel agent. It's just a search engine, and so it's not trying to sell you anything. It's just a bunch of cruise enthusiasts made it, and it's just really good. Really, what you can narrow it down to is just so good. That's how I find all the cruises I find, and then I just go book them directly from the cruise line. But if you have a travel agent that you trust, then you can book it through your travel agent after. But I got a whole video on that. Go check it out. I also have some links in my bio or in my description of this video to save some money for you. So there's a link if you want to cruise on Princess. You've never cruised on Princess before. There's a link down there, and they'll give you 25 bucks off your cruise. They also give me 25 bucks, by the way, and anybody can do that. So if you got friends that use Princess, they can, if you have friends that use Princess, you can just get their code. You don't have to use mine, but I do have one available down there. There's also a code for something that Andrea Gold showed me called Racket, and Racket gives you cash back on many things, Nikes, Lululemon, a bazillion different things, including Unbound Merino. But don't use that. Don't use Racket for Unbound Merino. You'll get a bigger discount using my Unbound Merino link. Don't use Racket for that. But where was I going with that? Shoot. Oh, yeah. So Rakuten will get you right now 1.5% cash back on Princess, so you can save another 1.5%. And I think on Celebrity it's 2% right now, and they fluctuate. Sometimes they're higher, sometimes they're lower. I've seen Celebrity up to 4% before, and I've heard Princess has jumped all the way up to 12%, which is pretty good. Hey, we almost have 100 thumbs up. If you haven't smashed it, I'd appreciate it. I think I missed a super chat in here, didn't I? Let's see if I can find it. Oh, I'm sorry if I missed it. Oh, there it is. All right. Oh, shoot. Henry says, I'm so glad you're feeling better. Hey, do you think there's a way to prevent getting norovirus? Anything you could have done? I mean, I can't think of anything I could have done better. I'm such a neat freak and a germaphobe. I wash my hands all the time. I use hand sanitizer almost every hand sanitizer I walk by, I use it. I'm such a germaphobe. And yeah, so I don't know what I could have done better. I mean, maybe I touched a railing and then, you know, stroked my beard or something. I don't know. I don't know what, but I avoided it for 2 months. So and norovirus is pretty contagious. It's much more contagious actually than coronavirus, and coronavirus is pretty contagious. But I avoided it for 2 months. I was on ships with major breakouts. So yeah, and Kaylee just posted the Rakuten. You can use Rakuten for anything, by the way, like shoes, anything. And when you use it, they give you $30 right away. So if you go and buy if you're going to buy a pair of Nikes anyway, basically you'll get $30 cash back. And you can get the cash back in 2 ways, a check or in PayPal. I get it in PayPal. But you'll get $30, and then they throw $30 my way, by the way. Although I don't really believe that because I haven't, nobody's signed up for that yet. I became platinum after 50 days and 5 cruises. You must have been under some kind of promotion or been in a mini suite, I'm assuming. But yeah, you can definitely get it pretty quickly. But if you're staying in inside cabins like I do, it takes 8 cruises because that'll be 16 cruises and you need 15. There's 2 ways with Princess, and I really like it. You can get there via days or cruises. It's much easier to get there via cruises, especially as a solo, because you get 2 days. You get 2 cruises per cruise. So in 8 cruises, you'll have 16 cruise credits, and that'll put you in the elite category. And don't forget, it's not like airlines, it's permanent. It's forever. So I'm elite on Princess forever now, which is just really cool. Louise says, have you traveled with Atlas, or do you have any opinion on them? I've never even heard of them. I'm pretty new to cruising. I just, I mean, I was in the Navy for 20 years, so not new to cruising in the general sense, but new to commercial cruising. And so I don't know a whole lot of cruise lines. I've only been on 3 cruise lines so far. Well, 4 technically, because I went on a cruise a long time ago. But yeah, I don't have any opinion on Atlas. I'm sorry. Don't feel bad, Kevin. I'm just as much a clean freak, says Maxine. How you doing, Maxine? Good you could catch us. Did you know Unbound Merino released female travel pants? Oh, that's awesome. I can never vouch for the female stuff. I know I have a friend that is wearing a lot of the female stuff and she loves it, but I don't wear it, so it's hard for me to vouch for it. I remember when they first started making female stuff, most of the females I knew who got the Unbound Merino did not like it, but it seems like the new stuff, they've done a much better job designing it, and women are raving about it. Karen says, I am 26 cruises in only 216 days. Yeah, you got me beat. I will be, I think by the end of this year, though, I'll be close to 200 days on there. I got a ton of Princess cruises coming up. If I missed your question, if you could ask it again. I'm using my phone, so it's really hard for me to scroll here. Does Princess Karen just loves cruising? Oh, I love that name. Does Princess double the days for solo or just the cruises? No, yeah, just the cruise number. You don't get double days. So it's actually a pretty smart system. A lot of cruise lines will double the days, but it makes sense because, they honor their top cruiser by days, and it puts everyone on an equal playing field with number of days as far as being the top cruiser on board, but gives solos, because they have to pay more, an advantage on moving up the different loyalty tiers. So it gives solos an advantage there, but doesn't give them any advantage of being the top cruiser, which I actually like that system. Because then the person who is being recognized as having the most days at sea, they are day for day, days at sea. It's not, some people stayed in a mini suite and got more days, some people, things like that. It's, if you're the top cruiser on board and you got 1,000 days, that's 1,000 days you spent on a Princess ship, and I like that. I like that 2-tiered system. So you're able to move up quicker and get up the loyalty levels with cruises, number of cruises, but the days still reflect exactly what you have cruised on the ship. I like that. Tell us about living on the Lido Deck. Oh yeah, so this is my first time living on the Lido Deck now. So I was on there 14 days, but I was quarantined in my cabin like 6 days or 5 days. So really 9 days. And I liked it. I thought it was going to be super noisy, but it wasn't. I was kind of in the middle of the Lido. I was in like cabin 200 and something. And I was the first cabin. I was the first cabin next to where the elevators were. And that wasn't an issue either, a noise issue. Yeah, there was no noise issue, and I thought there would be on the Lido Deck. I liked being able to just walk out and go and get like chili cheese fries and stuff like that, because it was like literally 20 steps from my door, unlimited supply of chili cheese dog and chili lime tacos, fish tacos, and that kind of stuff. So that was pretty cool. And also, going out for a morning walk and catching the sunset and things like that. It was really easy. So yeah, I liked being on the Lido Deck. The cruise before that, I was on deck 8, but my cabin was next to the promenade deck, because the promenade deck goes all the way around the ship on deck 7, but you have to, at the front of the ship, you have to go up some stairs and then go around and then back down some stairs. And I was on the upstairs version of the part of the promenade deck, and so I was able to just walk out to the promenade deck, which was also really cool. So I had good locations with both of my cabins, and so I think I would stay on the Lido again. in a similar spot. I thought it was pretty nice being on the Lido. Hey, we've got 176 people in here. That's awesome. This is pretty much, I wouldn't say it's an impromptu live stream, but I just posted this morning that I was doing it. All right, let's see. Nancy's got 34 cruises in 288 days. Some cruises were short ones, some were long. Yeah, that's very cool. Some were solo with double credit. It all adds up, yeah. A question from Louise. Do you have an adjustment period getting used to inside cabins with no daylight? So I don't spend a lot of time in my cabins. I had to because I got norovirus, but normally I don't spend a lot of time in them. So having a window or a balcony isn't that big a deal for me because I'm just not in the cabin very often. I'm running around the ship and watching live music going to shows, sitting outside, with a huge giant balcony, hanging out at the pool, so I don't spend a lot of time in my cabin. So I feel like it's kind of a waste for me to get upgraded cabins, to pay money for an upgraded cabin, because I just won't utilize it. But it would have been nice when I had that norovirus. I think it would have been nice to have a balcony and be able to open it up and get some fresh air. Although, to be honest with you, I had no desire to leave my bed. So maybe I wouldn't even got up and done that. What I like about inside cabins is they stay really cold and I sleep like a baby in them because they're like dark like a cave. So to me, the benefits of an inside cabin actually outweigh the negatives. So yeah, personally. Do I happen to notice that the rooms on the Lido deck were warmer? Mine was never warmer. I know that sometimes is a concern, but like I said, I was in the middle of the Lido deck where the rooms are. Maybe if I'd been closer to the door opening and closing to the pool deck, it might have been warmer, but in the area I was in, it was not. Or at least I didn't notice it. Is it difficult finding a chair at the pool on Princess? So let me give you a little hack on Princess cruises. So on every Princess cruise, they have what's called the, oh God, what is it called? Solarium? No, it's not the solarium. What is it called? What is the private area called? The solarium, right? Sanctuary, sorry. Every Princess ship has the sanctuary. And it's usually connected to the spa. And it's an area that you have to pay like $20 to $40 a day for. And it's a private area. It's really nice to do massages up there. There's food to you all day. It's covered, but outside. It's really nice. It's a really nice area. Right before you get to the sanctuary is the sanctuary pool. And most people think it's part of the sanctuary and that you have to pay for it, but you do not. It's part of the spa. It just happens to be called the sanctuary pool. It's an adults-only pool, and it's much easier to get a seat there, in my experience. Once people figure it out, it's a little bit harder later in the day, but if you go there early in the morning, I'm usually the only person in there. And most of it has to do with its location. So most people think you have to pay to use it, but you don't. And so I've never had an issue getting a chair on Princess because I go to the sanctuary pool most of the time. Or the aft pool, which is also usually adults only, 18 or over. And in the morning, it's almost always empty. So there you go. Royal Caribbean has the solarium. Nancy says we love inside cabins for all the reason Kevin gave us. Yeah, I got an upgrade. Hey Peggy, how you doing? I got an upgrade on the last cruise, and I got an ocean view, and that was nice. It was cool to have, but I wouldn't pay for it. Do you find tipping cabin attendant at the beginning of your cruise get you a little bit better service? I've never tipped them at the beginning. I always prepay my gratuities, and then at the end of the cruise, I go around and tip people that helped me or that I maybe noticed doing like hard work. But I always tip my cabin steward at the end, and I mean, I'm sure it's most people's experience. I've had nothing but really good cabin stewards, so I always tip them at the end. I know some people don't agree with that. That's your prerogative, whatever. I mean, it's certainly not a requirement, but it's still a little fuzzy to me where those gratuities go and how they're allocated to the different people on board. So. Let's see. Everyone's telling me not to talk about the sanctuary pool. Don't worry, there's only 181 of us watching. The chances of us all ending up on the same cruise are very small. Are you planning a cruise that goes to Buenos Aires? Have you ever been to Argentina? So I have not been to Argentina. I have been to Patagonia on the Chilean side, really close to Argentina, but I've never been to Argentina. It's definitely on my bucket list, and cruising out of Buenos Aires is pretty popular. I'm going to be doing an Antarctic cruise, and usually they start in Chile, Santiago, and they end in Buenos Aires or vice versa. So I'll definitely probably be cruising out of Buenos Aires at some point. And if I missed your question, if you could ask it again. I'm doing this on my phone, and it's just hard to keep up with the questions. Let's see. All right, I'm going to scroll back down. Okay, Nana on the run. Hey, what's going on? Dang it. Do you find it's hard to find back-to-back cruises without too much time gap between? No, I don't find it hard at all. Let me see what your PS was. You were our topic of conversation at last night's dinner meetup. Oh, too kind. So I don't find it hard at all because I use Cruise Plum. And Cruise Plum, you can sort by, you can look at cruises on dates. So a lot of times if I'm in Miami, let's say I'm in Miami cruise port and my cruise ends on Saturday the 18th, I can look what cruises are leaving Saturday the 18th out of Miami, or Fort Lauderdale as well. I look at both of those if I was cruising into Miami, because I could easily get over to Fort Lauderdale, Port Everglades cruise port. And so I just look at both those cruises and see what's leaving out. That's why Cruise Plum is such a powerful tool for someone that's doing what I'm doing. So it's pretty easy to find back-to-back cruises if you want to switch. It's called side-to-side, but if you want to switch cruise lines or cruise ships, it's really easy to find back-to-back on the same ship, obviously. You just look for the next itinerary on that ship. But side-to-side is pretty easy. I'm doing a side-to-side from Getaway to MSC Seaside. Getaway comes in on the 11th. Seaside leaves on the 11th. I'll walk from, they're out of the same port. I'll walk from Getaway, Norwegian Getaway, when my cruise ends. Whenever they kick me off the ship around 9:30, I'll walk over to wherever the MSC ship is and wait to get on. So, yeah, I've had no issue finding that. The only reason I have this 2-day gap in between this cruise is because I really wanted to get on a Norwegian ship with a studio cabin setup. I could have definitely cruised the exact same day out of Fort Lauderdale or the next day out of Orlando. There were plenty of cruise ships leaving on Sunday. But I decided I wanted to try that experience, and so I just couldn't make it work in my schedule other than having this 2-day gap. But normally, it's super easy to find cruises either on the exact same day or the next day if you want to switch ports. It's what I've been doing the whole time that I've been cruising. It's super easy to find. Crews told me that a couple times a year they get a bonus from the prepaid gratuities. They go into a fleet-wide pool and distribute it from there. Okay. I'm glad you feel better, Kevin. I will be on I'll be on Sky Princess in September on a transatlantic. Very cool. Total cost $350. $250 of free play. That is awesome. I will be on Sky for 42 days. Actually, is it 42 days? Maybe it's a little less. So I'm taking Island Princess over to Southampton, and then I hop on Sky Princess, and I have a bunch of different cruises. They're all different itineraries. That's why I didn't mind staying on the same ship. I think I'm in the same cabin for 21 days, and then the second 21 days I'm in a different cabin, but the same cabin for those 21 days. And it's a bunch of different cruises: a Baltic, a Scandinavian, a Comedians cruise, a British Isles cruise, a Mediterranean cruise. It's a bunch of different cruises, so I'm excited. And then I'll do a side to side. I'll go hop on the Regal Princess after the Sky Princess. I'll do a side to side on the exact same day. I'll walk off Regal, I'll walk off Sky, and board Regal same day. How's the entertainment on Princess? I think it's really good. There were some really good comedians on Caribbean Princess. I've never had an issue with it. I'm more of a live music guy. Caribbean Princess didn't have the level of live music as the other two Princess cruise ships I was on. Caribbean Princess is definitely my least favorite Princess ship I've been on. And the biggest reason is the atrium area. So the atrium area on the Caribbean Princess is really small relative to Princess ships. It's pretty big relative to other cruise ships, to be honest with you, but it's really small for a Princess ship. Princess atrium areas are usually massive. They're multi-level with seating on all the levels, overlooking the entertainment, and there's always good music playing in those areas. They also usually have a good bar that plays live music, and they had that on here. They had the Wheelhouse Bar, but it just, the level of the musicians just weren't as plentiful on this ship as the other one. There were some good ones though. I mean, there's this woman that played the violin that was phenomenal, and yeah, there were some definitely some good musicians on there, but they didn't have the quantity or the amount of shows. And that's usually what I like. I like going and checking live music. So, hey Tara, what's going on? Steven says, hoping to see you on Sky. Yeah, I might see you on there. Hey, Going Green Mom, how you doing? Question, how's the entertainment on Princess? I just answered that. Question, when you do a side by side or changing ships, do you self-assist for your luggage? So I travel carry-out only. So yeah, I always just bring my own luggage. But I only have one case. So I travel really, really light. I don't know if you could have assisted to get to the other place. You would have to wheel it to, hopefully your cruise ships are pretty close together, and you wouldn't have to travel very far, but All right, if I missed your question, if you could please ask it again. I can only scroll up so far on here. Is your mom aware you're taking her to Venice? Yeah, she is. She's the reason we're going to Venice. I wanted to do a Christmas cruise, but I wanted to do a Christmas river cruise, but she wanted to do Venice. Do you feel safe arriving at your port the same time your cruise departs? Yeah, I feel perfectly safe. I always have to travel to another port. Oh, you're talking about like when I have to fly? Yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna fly, I probably don't want to fly the same day. I mean, right now is a perfect example. So many flights are being delayed because of the weather down here in Florida, a bunch of tornadoes and stuff like that, and thunderstorms. So yeah, I mean, if I'm gonna fly to a new port, I'll usually have a day in between. I won't fly the same day. I wouldn't want to put that kind of stress on myself. So normally I would not do that. I haven't done that actually at all. I always have a day in between if I'm changing ports. The Regal Princess is a Royal class ship. Yeah, I like those Royal class ships. I went to Venice with my mom. It's a nice memory. Yeah, I'm excited about it. I'm in Dublin. Very few cruises go here. Yeah, I think the cruise ship, one of the cruises I'm doing is pulling into a bunch of places in Ireland. So, And 23andMe says I have a lot of DNA from Cork and Kerry and Galway. So I'm excited to see my motherland. Also a lot from Manchester and Greater London as well. So I'm just a Great Britain mutt. I already answered that question there, McKenna. Did the Lido feel warmer? I mean, it feels warmer as you get close to the pool deck, but where I was, it didn't feel warmer. I was in the middle. Did they remake it like Carnival has been doing? I don't know what that means. Oh, you're asking Karen that question. Manchester is a real nice place, yeah. Aren't Scousers from Manchester? Aren't Scousers from Manchester? Is that correct? Stephen Dacey. Stephen Dacey. I wonder if I'm saying your name right. Or is it Daki? Is it Daki? Decay? I don't know. Thank you for all you do. Let's see. I love Princess. I'm Gold. I think that's the lowest. Congrats on Elite. No. Gold is your second highest or second lowest. But your next cruise you'll be Ruby. You should be Ruby on your next cruise because I think Gold is up to 3 cruises, and I think right Ruby is 3. I think Ruby's 3, and then you're platinum. When is platinum? Is platinum 5? I think platinum's 5, and that's where you start getting the real benefits, like the 50% off internet. So it turns internet to like $7 a day. You guys want to hear? You guys can't tell anybody this secret. I found another hack on Princess. So when you buy the internet package on Princess, you have to pay per device. Well, just by chance, I had my computer and my phone, and I accidentally, instead of logging off of one so I could log off the other because I only had one device, I accidentally logged on both of them at the same time. And when I did that, they both worked. So I don't know if they'll fix that, but right now, if you log your devices on at the same time, you can have 2 devices on a 1 device package. I mean, whatever, but yeah, it worked, at least on the Caribbean Princess. Thanks again for that super chat. Yeah, Gold does sound high, but it's not on Princess. You got Blue, Gold, Ruby. Blue, Gold, Ruby. I think I have them all. I don't even know where they're at. When I get on my next Princess ship and I have my black one, I have all the different color medallions from my cruising so far, and I'm gonna do a video called how to go from 0 to hero as a solo cruiser on Princess when I get my black one on my next cruise. H. Olson says, do you find the buffet food the same from one Princess cruise to another? Yeah, it's pretty routine, to be honest with you. It gets pretty repetitive, but then you just gotta search out. They'll have different theme days. They'll have a pub day. They'll have a Mexican day. A lot of times, one day they'll have a bunch of Indian food. So you just have to search different things out. It's less repetitive than some other cruise lines I've been on, but it still can be repetitive. Same with the main dining room too. I actually pronounced your name correctly, says Stephen. Well, did I do Dacey? I'm assuming. Dacey is how you pronounce it. Question, when you're feeling like crap and it was coming out, you were drinking only big bottles of water. Did you realize water doesn't replenish electrolytes? Yeah, I mean, that's definitely something I'm gonna add to my bag in the future. I added some Pepto-Bismol and some anti-diarrhea medication already, but I'm gonna add those packets, those electrolyte packets, definitely to my little medical area on on my bag. But yeah, you're 100% right. It doesn't replenish those electrolytes. But to be honest with you, I was emptying the contents of my stomach out so often that I don't know if I would have kept it down anyway. So. Discovery and Royal have more vegetarian choices. There we go. Blue is 1, gold is 2 to 3, ruby is 4 to 5, platinum is 6 to 15. I think platinum is 5. I'm almost positive platinum is 5, or maybe I had 6 already, but yeah, platinum is what I loved platinum because I got half price internet. So I love platinum. And I got on the ship through the platinum elite line or whatever. If you're in a Dublin visit, Glendalough, nearby a 6th century monastery founded by St. Kevin. Oh, I should go to that, huh? Let's see. All right, sorry, I'm trying to scroll up and see if I missed any questions here. Got 181 people in the chat. I appreciate you all for stopping by. If you don't mind smashing that thumbs up, we're almost to 150. Have you taken kombucha? I can't even say it. I know what you're talking about though. I have not. I should probably take it. I definitely need to get my gut health under control after that. Someone just booked Princess. Who was that? I just looked at Princess. Oh, okay. All right. If you got a question, oh wait, here's one. Here's Albie. Have you taken your kombucha? Oh yeah, you're the one that asked that. No, I haven't. Kombucha. Kombucha, I think is how you say it. Kombucha. Regal was 1991 to 2007. So yes, rename the new one. Yeah. I was on the Ruby Princess. I really loved it. That's my favorite Princess ship so far. Sky was 2nd, and Caribbean Princess 3rd. And I'll be on Island Princess. Still this year, I'll be on Island Princess, Grand Princess, which are older ships. I'll be on Regal. No, not Regal. Yeah, Regal. Regal and Enchanted. As well as Sky again. But yeah, so I'll be on a lot of Princess ships this year. But so far, Ruby has been my favorite of the Princess ships I've been on. I just like the overall setup better. Sky, I really, really love the track on the like 16th or 17th deck. It's awesome. It's my favorite place on the ship. For every morning I go up there and walk. Man, it is so windy outside. It's crazy windy. Man, I know there's a lot of tornado warnings. I grew up in the Midwest, and one of the reasons I left was tornado season. Like, I hate tornado season in the Midwest. This is the first time I've been somewhere. It's not in the Midwest that has tornado warnings. Any new videos coming out soon? Yeah, definitely. I mean, I almost always put out at least one video a week. I did some video shorts with my room tours, but I'm just gonna do a one Caribbean Princess inside cabin and ocean view cabin tour. Just put them together, just as a combination video. Video's probably only going to be like 5 minutes long. It's not going to be a long video, but I figure I'll get that out there because people ask me about that all the time. And I've got the shorts, but a lot of you don't watch the shorts. So how do you keep up social life living on a cruise ship? Yeah, it's pretty easy. I mean, it's the cool thing about living on a cruise ship is if I want to go to a show, it's a 2-minute walk. If I want to go eat dinner in a dining room with some new and interesting people, I can do that. If I want to sit around the pool and chat with people, if I want to go to the solo meetup and meet a bunch of people. By the way, Princess has fixed their solo cruiser program, And I think it had to do with the schedule. The schedule on the app used to suck, and now it's actually really good. And so people can actually find it, and all the solo meetups had tons of people at them. I mean, like 60 people. So I think they fixed the problem by fixing their app. So, but yeah, I actually think I had more of a social life on a cruise ship than I have in most other ways I've traveled, because there's always something social to do. When may you go to Antarctica? I'm not 100% sure yet. I'm still working on getting that cruise booked. I don't even know when the best time to go is. I should probably look that up. Miguel says, I look forward to seeing you on one of your cruise journeys. I'm a solo cruiser as well and go on a cruise once a month. Very cool, but it depends on interest rates for that, or airline rates for that month. Yeah, I understand for sure. Do you like the Medallion? I love the Medallion. Like, I hate going to cruise ships with cards. The Medallion is such great technology. For those who don't know, Princess has a Medallion instead of a card, and you can use it for a lot of different things. It opens your door automatically when you get close to your door. If you're at the casino, you use it. If you order anything on the ship, so room service is free on Princess, but room service includes anywhere on the ship. So if I'm sitting at the Lido Deck, or if I'm sitting at the pool and I don't want to give up my pool chair, but I want some pizza and a pina colada, I get on the app, I order pizza and a pina colada, and because I have the Medallion with me, the ship knows where I'm at, and they'll bring me my pizza and pina colada free of charge. Room service is free on board. That was a lifesaver, by the way, during my norovirus outbreak. But yeah, I love the Medallion technology. I always hate going to ships with cards. Like, that'll be one of my complaints about Norwegian, is I have to go back to a card. So I wish everyone would go to those Medallions. Such good technology. Social, you make new friends each week. Yeah, I mean, there are tons of people on this chat that I met on cruises. If I met you on a cruise, spam the number 1 if I met you on a cruise. Half the people in this chat I probably met on a cruise. I know Andrea's in here. I met Andrea on a cruise. There's Jen Cruises. Obviously, I met Jen on a cruise. There's Andrea. Yeah, I met a ton of people on cruises. I met John Cruises, not Jen Cruises. John Cruises. The light is like kind of blinded me. Let's see. Thanks, Rob and Jan Cruises, for telling people to smash that thumbs up button. We almost got 200 people in here. That's crazy. If you have a question, please ask it again. My chat's moving so quickly. I need to start going to cruises. Yeah, I'm enjoying it. I have been researching an idea. I have been researching my next travel method. I still have a lot of cruising left. I'm doing this for at least a year. I'll actually probably continue to cruise after this year, just not full time. I'll probably take, maybe a cruise a month or something like that. But wherever I am in the world, I mean, obviously out of Thailand, I can cruise out of Singapore. I can actually even cruise out of Thailand. But no matter where I'm at, I'll probably be able to cruise. And I'll continue to keep that as part of my travel repertoire, because I really like doing it. But I've been thinking about, tell me what you think of this. I've been thinking about buying a Tesla and traveling around the US, camping in the Tesla, equipping it for camping, and also staying at unique Airbnbs. So that's kind of what I'm playing with right now as my next way of traveling. That's kind of what I'm playing with right now. But that's a long way off. It's about a year off. So if you missed that, I said traveling. Someone said the Cybertruck. Probably not the Cybertruck. Probably the Y, which is more conducive to camping. There's tons of YouTube content. It's a proven camper, a good camping vehicle. Karen just loves cruising. Oh, that's Karen. Hey, Karen, how are you? Oh, man. My chat just keeps moving too quickly. There's a princess ship located in Tokyo. Yeah, definitely. I can attest that Kevin is a great guy. Oh, you're too kind. Well, the Airbnb, yes. Camping in a Tesla, no. Yeah, so the primary thing will be me traveling in the U.S. in a Tesla, so in an electric vehicle, staying in unique Airbnbs. So, like those treehouse Airbnbs, like, you know, the Airbnb is like built out of a plane, stuff like that. So it'd be that kind of stuff. Why a Tesla? Asked David. Because I want to try to travel the U.S. in an electric car. I want to see what the feasibility of it is. That kind of stuff really interests me. And the Teslas are kind of like iPhones. They're kind of like, they're more of a lifestyle brand than like a traditional car. Because, you know, your car's constantly getting updated, like an iPhone. So your car actually gets better over time, not worse. It's just an interesting concept to me. So, and I think it'll just be unique to. I mean, it's not unique to travel in a Tesla because there's plenty of people that do it. It's already a proven concept. It's not something I would be proving that you can do because there's superchargers everywhere now. But not to get off cruising. I don't want to get too far off cruising. But that's something I'm playing around with in my mind. How about traveling across Africa? Yeah, so I lived in Africa. If you don't know, I traveled with a program called Remote Year, and I lived in Africa and went on safari in Africa. It's definitely something I would consider doing at some point. I don't know if it'll be my next adventure, but it's definitely something I would consider doing. But it's already been part of one of my years of travel. So, yeah, it's already been integrated into one of my years. Tesla, not great for road trips. In Texas, oh, that's not true. I just watched a video of a guy that went from one corner of Texas to another. The superchargers are actually all over the place there, especially now that they have a factory there. Texas is actually wrapping their arms around Tesla because they're bringing like a zillion jobs there. So maybe in the past it was that way, but not so much now. Actually, Texas actually just passed a law to charge Tesla owners $200 a year to register their Tesla because when someone pays for gas, part of that tax on the gas goes to the roads. Well, so many people are driving Teslas in Texas now that they've seen a huge dive in the amount of road tax they're getting. So there's actually a tax called the Tesla tax. It's an EV tax, but it's really a Tesla tax because there's so many Teslas in Texas now. So it's actually Texas has actually had to pass laws because there's so many people driving Teslas in Texas. Karen says, I changed my name and YouTube won't let me change it back. Man, I've changed my name on this channel like 3 or 4 times over the years. How about an electric motorcycle? Yeah, I've been considering that as well. I'm a huge Ewan McGregor fan, and he traveled the world in motorcycles, made a bunch of documentaries about it, and the last one was on a electric Harley Davidson. The problem is the motorcycles aren't where, there's no motorcycle company that's where Tesla is at the moment as far as the technology. So there's just not one that would be that I think would be enjoyable. And so I'm not ready to do that on a motorcycle yet. But at some point I definitely will. Yeah, it's definitely a fallacy that there's not enough chargers. I mean, there are tons of videos of people going coast to coast in Teslas. Tesla has so many chargers now, just Tesla chargers. You can also use other chargers, obviously. You don't have to use Tesla, but Tesla's supercharger network is so vast now that you can go anywhere in the United States in a Tesla and not have to worry. Just using Tesla chargers. If you integrate the other chargers into it, I've already researched it. Like, I wouldn't want to do anything that wouldn't be fun and comfortable. That would be me breaking down in the middle of the Moab desert in a Tesla. But I mean, there's a guy that drove through Valley of Fire recently and had in a Tesla and had no issues. So if you can drive through there where there's hardly any chargers and go from charger to charger, you can go anywhere. Going Green Mom says the only chargers I know in Indiana are in the casinos. Yeah, you'd be surprised how many are on the highways, especially the Tesla superchargers. There's no state that doesn't have Tesla superchargers. Enough to get through the state pretty easily, actually. You'd be surprised how many there are. Almost every hotel has chargers now. You'd be surprised how many there are. Group cruise with Kaylee. Maybe Kevin will crash it. I'll jump on a group cruise. I like the idea of unique Airbnb, but a Tesla long enough for you to actually lay down. Yeah, so the Tesla Model Y is actually a pretty awesome camping rig. Just research, type in Tesla Y camping and you'll see tons of videos of people doing it. There's tons of aftermarket products for it as a camper. Teslas have camping mode. I don't know if you know that, but Teslas have camping mode built into their system. So your climate inside the vehicle stays warm and cold, and cold and hot. It actually has a super awesome camp mode that is tried and tested, and everyone who does it absolutely loves it. So, and there's all kinds of sleeping systems made for the Tesla Y, which is the one I would get. And so it's actually a pretty proven camper, and it's all-wheel drive. So it's better than any RV I've ever had, except for the Storyteller maybe. Although the all-wheel drive is actually better than the Mercedes all-wheel drive in the Tesla. But yeah. Someone said, congratulations on 100K. Thank you. I'm almost at 100,001K. I'm excited to get to that number because that means, okay, 100K is over. Now it's time to focus on 200K. So pretty soon I'll be 99K from 200,000. Let's see. Yeah, there's Teslas coming out of Mexico, LV, definitely. But I think nowadays to get the rebate, the $7,500 rebate on a Tesla, I think has to be built in the United States. I think. What is your view of Kashmir and Pakistan? I mean, I've never been to either one, but I would love to visit them. I have a really good friend from Pakistan that I worked, when I was a lawyer, I worked with him, and he's back in Pakistan now. I would definitely visit that area. It has some of the best food in the world, from what I understand. There are so many creative ways to travel and enjoy traveling. Yeah, I'm always trying to do something a little bit different. And, I like the idea, like just traveling in a Tesla, I don't think is very unique. Actually, there's a ton of YouTube videos about that. But traveling in a Tesla to unique Airbnbs, especially ones where you can charge your Tesla, because a lot of Airbnbs have EV chargers now. Although you can you don't have to have an EV charger to charge your Tesla. You can plug it into a regular outlet. You can also plug it, if you want a faster charge, you can plug it into a washer and dryer outlet, or I guess dryer outlet, not washer outlet, but dryer outlet. Which countries in Africa did you visit? South Africa, Algiers, Algeria, Morocco, Ghana. I think that's it. Yeah. Any Alaskan cruises in your near future? Yeah, so I'll be cruising Alaska for 21 days in September. So I do 21-day Alaskan cruise that then goes to Hawaii, and then from Hawaii to Tahiti, America, Samoa, New Zealand, and Australia. So it's actually a 45-day cruise. 21 days of it is Alaska. So, yeah. 100,001 is not 100,001. It's 100,000, 101,000. That's what I meant. 101,000. 101,000. I've already passed 100,001. What's up with Pep? Looking better, buddy. Glad to see your foo-foo coffees didn't kill you. Kills me. Yeah. So someone called me Pep someone said I look like him on this cruise. One of the bartenders was like, hey, you know who you look like? So. Let's see, I'm trying to figure out. All right. Someone said, I forgot how cool these icons are. Yeah. I love those icons. I finally figured out my account. For a long time, I couldn't use those icons for some reason, which I thought was really weird. But I finally figured it out, why I couldn't. I was logging in with my manager account, and yeah, but now I can. When you're in Hawaii, and specifically on Kauai, and then I can't see what else you said. It ends there. Sorry. Someone said on Ted Lasso they mentioned Pep, and the only reason I knew it is because of Kevin. Yeah. I get two people, and on this cruise I had people ask me, or said I look like Pep Guardiola. For those who don't know, he's the soccer coach for Manchester City. And another one I get all the time, especially by people from Australia, is Ed Stafford. He's a survivalist, and I actually get both of those a lot. So, which cruise did you like the most? Which cruise did I like the most? If you're talking about cruise ship, my favorite cruise ship so far has been Ruby Princess. If you're talking about specific cruise, I would say the ones that go to the Saints. I guess because I'm a little bit burnt out on the Western Caribbean itinerary. So I would say, yeah, the ones that go to the Saints. Yeah, and I'm doing a lot of the Saints this time as well. This 10-day cruise has a ton of port visits, like 8 port visits or something like that. So it's going to be pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Actually, here, let me pull up. I think I can pull up here real quick what my port visits are. Let's see. So they actually did a port visit change, but we leave out of Orlando, Port Canaveral. I hate when I say Orlando because it's nowhere near Orlando. But we go to Amber Cove, Dominican Republic, which I've been to a few times, then St. Thomas, then St. John's, then St. Lucia, then St. Martin, and then San Juan, Puerto Rico, then Grand Stirrup Cay, Bahama, and then back to Orlando. So I'm pretty excited about that itinerary. It sounds pretty cool. And then I get on MSC Seaside and I go to Ocean Cay twice. No, 3 times. Yeah, 3 times. And I think 2 of those times is an overnight in Ocean Cay. So I'm going to spend a lot of time in Ocean Cay, which is my favorite private island so far. It's not even close. Ocean Cay is just so good. You're going to be called Pep a lot in the British Isles? Probably so. Yeah. You remind me of that 30 and a wake-up guy. Yep. Have you done Panama Canal yet? Yeah, I did Panama Canal and Ruby Princess, 16-day Panama Canal. One of the best cruise deals I ever found. $450 I found for that cruise. It was amazing, amazing deal. 16 days. That was a great cruise. Are you going to do another packing for men video? Yeah, I always do that. I always do another one. I'll definitely be doing an update at some point. Peggy Travis says, bye until later. Take care, Peggy. All right, I'm caught up on questions. If I missed yours, it wasn't intentional. Ask it again. Will you be able to see Falcon Heavy launch this evening? I don't know. Maybe. I'll look for it. For those who don't know, that's the SpaceX rocket that's launching. I bet you it doesn't launch, though. The weather's been terrible. I saw your short video in Hawaii. Let's see. Are you still being called Steve? No. Don't forget being diamond on MSC and how to obtain that. Yeah, I'm actually diamond. I'm already diamond on MSC. So, yeah. So there's not a whole lot of benefits for diamond. There's not a whole lot of benefits in the MSC program. They're kind of pretty superficial. They're not anything to me that's real value. I mean, you get like a chocolate bar and some food, but there's nothing that's like really valuable. Like a lot of ships, you'll get like half price of free internet. You'll get drinks. You'll get like on Princess now, I get the mini bar set up, stuff like that. Free laundry. You don't get those kind of perks on MSC. They're very, there's none that are that great other than priority embarkation and disembarkation. Everything else is kind of like, great, you gave me a chocolate bar. I mean, whatever. I'd rather have like, give me, internet's so expensive on MSC, give me half price internet, you know. Keep the chocolate bar, give me half price internet. Yeah, their program's not very good. It's probably the worst one of the cruise lines. We loved our British Isle cruise on Princess. Yeah, I'm super excited about it. Super excited about it. All right, I'm all caught up. If you got a question, throw it out there. Let's see. Surprise someone who's been to Ghana, says fufu coffee instead of frou-frou. Yeah, I mean, I go back and forth on that. I go back and forth. And I didn't spend a whole lot of time there. I was in the Navy with a guy from Ghana, and that's how I ended up visiting there. He was in the U.S. Navy. He was from Ghana originally, though. And I visited his family over there. It was a long time ago, though. Definitely internet over chocolate. I'm team fufu. Yeah, frou-frou, fufu, whatever. I usually just say fufu coffee. Yeah. Hey, Cruising for One. What's going on, man? Me and Cruising for One, we're on the Caribbean Princess together. He makes YouTube videos. He does a lot of good tutorial videos, so go check out his YouTube channel. For those that just joined, I am chilling in a hotel in Orlando. Tomorrow I will be getting on Norwegian Getaway. I will be in my first ever solo cabin that's in the middle of the solo lounge area. So I'll finally get to experience that on Norwegian. It's my first ever Norwegian ship. So I'm excited. I've heard really good things about Getaway. I've heard really good things about Breakaway mostly, but I think Breakaway and Getaway are the same kind of ships. So just wondering what cruises you're on. I don't know why Camera Perez, I don't know why your stuff is breaking off your chat, so I can't really tell what you're saying here. I was wondering what cruise you're on for Hawaii. I'm on Grand Princess for Hawaii. But you're, for whatever reason, it's like the way it's showing up is really weird. It's hard to read. Matilda says, better late than never. How you doing, Matilda? Cruising for One says, I don't think I'd like the solo cabins on NCL. Yeah, you know, to be honest with you, I always tell people, you know what a solo cabin is? It's a small inside cabin. I mean, that's all it is. It's just a marketing gimmick, and they're more expensive. You know, it was actually cheaper to book the inside cabin than the solo cabin I booked, but I just booked it because everyone says I have to try it. It like changes the cruise experience, and so I'm going to go see for myself. If that is the case. But a solo cabin, a studio cabin is just an inside cabin. That's what it is. I know they do make balcony solo cabins on some cruise ships as well. I think Virgin maybe. But yeah, I mean, it's, for the most part, it's just a small studio cabin or a small inside cabin. So someone said, do you think we are interested in your life? You don't have to be interested in my life. That's up to you. You're the one that clicked on the video, not me. You can always click off the video, buddy. Oh, Kaylee says she sees the comments fine. Not sure what's happening on my end. Yeah, it's like breaking up. Let's see. Just booked Princess for 2025. Unfortunately, Caribbean Princess was not yet posted. Any sailings for 2025. I hope it's not getting scrapped. I don't know if it'll get scrapped. Maybe it's going in the yards again. I mean, it's for a 20-year-old cruise ship. It looks pretty good. I mean, I was on the Enchantment of the Seas, and Enchantment of the Seas, Royal Caribbean's cruise ship. I loved being on there, but it looks like it was built over 20 years ago. It looks like it's very dated. I didn't feel that way on Caribbean Princess. I felt, I mean, it's dated, and it's definitely not, it doesn't have the grand atrium like all the other Princess ships that I've been on. But as far as like the feel of the ship, it did not feel like a 20-year-old cruise ship. Enchantment of the Seas, which I liked, definitely felt like an old cruise ship. It looked like it. It looked like, you know, it was very dated. But I don't feel that Caribbean Princess to me does not feel dated. But maybe they're transferring it over to someone like P&O or something like that usually gets the old Princess ships. Someone said Coral Princess looks young too. Yeah, I mean, Coral Princess is what they're using to do a lot of their world cruises. So, and those are much more pricey. So I'm sure they put money into it, since people who are using that cruise ship are shelling out a lot of money to cruise on it. What's your Mediterranean cruise itinerary? It's a bunch of things. Obviously I'm doing Iceland and Norway on my transatlantic, Norwegian fjords. And then I'm doing Scandinavia, Baltic, British Isles, Mediterranean cruise, bunch of different itineraries while I'm over there, bunch of different ones. And then I'm going to Alaska and then heading over to Australia through a bunch of cool places: Hawaii, America, Samoa, Tahiti. And then I'll fly back to Europe to meet my mother, take her to Venice, and then we're going to take a transatlantic back to the U.S. And that goes a bunch of places too. So, Island Princess is on a world cruise now. Yeah, I guess I'm catching the back part of Island Princess's world cruise, heading over to Southampton. So that'll be cool. That's a 33-day cruise for me. So I'll be on Island Princess, which is one of Princess's oldest ships. I'll be on that one for a good month. I'm excited about it. Best feature on some in-sail ships is the expansive observatory lounges that are only circa 4 ships, I think. Okay, I don't know if that's on the Getaway or not. I don't know much about Norwegian other than a lot of solos like Norwegian because of the solo studios and the solo lounge. That's why I booked one of their ships. That's why I'm not on that group cruise with Chile and Mr. Bucket List, because I was actually going to go on that one, but the ship they're on does not have solo cabins, and I wanted to do the solo cabins because everyone says I keep getting that in the comments. You need to try Norwegian solo cabins, solo lounge are the best. They make solo experience the best, and so I want to try it and see. Hey, we almost have 200 thumbs up. We're only 7 away. So if you don't mind smashing that thumbs up if you haven't yet, I would greatly appreciate it. If you're just joining the live chat, I'm in an Orlando Hilton. And tomorrow, I just got off the Caribbean Princess, left Fort Lauderdale, came up here to Orlando. It was kind of a pain in the butt. I flew because I found a really cheap flight, points-wise. It would have been much smarter to just rent a car and drive up here because it took me forever to get here because my flights kept getting delayed because of the weather in Florida right now. It's a lot of tornado warnings, a lot of storms, stuff like that. That's why it's getting dark in here, actually, because the clouds are starting to get black. So, but yeah, so I'm in an Orlando hotel tonight. Tomorrow, I will take a Uber to Port Canaveral and jump on the Norwegian Getaway for a 10-day cruise with like 8 different port visits. And then I go on MSC Seaside for 14 days. And then I head over to Europe and I start the European leg of my 1-year cruise adventure. So I'm super excited about it. Cruising for One said, we lived in Orlando for years, but we are from Rhode Island where we live now. Very cool. Kevin, congrats on 100,000 subs. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Kevin, thanks for sharing your life with us. Oh, well, thank you, Kevin G. If I have not answered your question, please ask it again. I didn't skip it intentionally. I'm using my phone, and it's always kind of a pain to try to scroll back up. So just ask it again, and if you have a new question that you want to ask, throw it out there. There we go. There's one from Steve, or from Steph. Not Steve, Steph. Are you in Hampton Inn? I remember the nice condos that you see from the room. Is a nice pre-cruise hotel. Yeah, I'm in Hampton Inn by Hilton. Yeah, and there are some nice condos over here. What is your favorite cruise food, other than fufu coffees? What is my favorite cruise food? I would love to say something like escargot and sound fancy, but to be honest with you, my favorite food I've had so far is probably, this is why judging different cruise lines is hard, because there's some things you really like about other cruise lines and some things you don't. But MSC, they have a mozzarella day where they hand make the mozzarella, and then they have a bunch of different flavors like pesto mozzarella, de buffalo, and all these different flavors, and it was just phenomenal. I would have said French onion, the black and blue French onion soup, but now I've had a bad experience with it. Right when I got sick, with the norovirus was a day after I had that. So a lot of my norovirus experience was reliving that black and blue French onion soup, and now I just can't even. It sucks because I really love that black and blue French onion soup, but I just can't even think of the thought of it makes me think of that norovirus experience. So that's not in my top of my list anymore. Also on MSC, the pizza's phenomenal. Although on Princess, if they've got an Alfredo's pizza, that pizza's really good. So yeah, I had some really good tacos on. There's a little taco place on MSC Meraviglia. They're like $2 or $3 a taco. They were really good. It's like a specialty restaurant. Can't remember the name of it, but it was really good. Someone said, hope you're recovered now. Someone says, snails does not sound good to me. Yeah, I've never been an escargot eater, but most of the cruise ships have escargot. And to be honest with you, they soak them in like pesto or some other kind of marinara sauce, and they're pretty good. Like a garlic sauce or something like that. They're pretty good. McKenna says, anyone taking a Mediterranean cruise on MSC? Hey, you should go watch Fraser at Sea. He's cruising for a year like me. He started in the Middle East, but he's taking a lot of MSC in Europe pretty soon. And so he'll be a good channel. He'll be a good resource to watch for that. What is the Royal Princess? Why is Royal Princess your favorite? So it's not Royal Princess is my favorite, it's Ruby Princess. I just like the layout of the ship. The promenade deck is really nice, goes around the whole ship, and they have the track on the top of Ruby Princess that's nice. It's not as nice as Sky Princess is, but Sky's promenade deck isn't as nice as Ruby's. So I just like the layout of Ruby. I just like it. It's really nice. It's a new enough ship where everything feels new, but it's got a little bit more of a classic layout. I really like Sky Princess too, but I just like Ruby a little bit better. I like that layout. Like Caribbean Princess, one of the biggest things I did not like about Caribbean Princess was they didn't have a track up on the upper levels. You can't go up to deck 15 and 16 and just walk around like you can on all the other Princess ships I've been on, where they have the tracks up there that it makes for great sunrises, makes for great walks out in the fresh ocean air, where Caribbean Princess doesn't really have that. The promenade deck is okay, but it's not great. It just didn't have a good flow to their outdoor space, in my opinion. But yeah, Ruby's my favorite layout for that reason. What has been your favorite port food? Probably the mofongo. I know I'm saying that, I'm pronouncing it wrong, mofongo. Probably that in Puerto Rico. I was in Puerto Rico the other day, and I went to the place that I like, Casa Luna, but it was closed. They had a sign on the door that said, giving our staff a break for the day, closed. It just happened to be closed the one day I was there. So I was like, and then I went to another place and had mofongo, and it wasn't even close to as good. I was super disappointed. But I'll be in Puerto Rico again pretty soon. So I'll go back to Casa Luna and have the mofongo there. Island Princess may not have full tracks like that either. Yeah, probably not. I mean, Island Princess and Grand Princess are built to go to a lot of cold weather places, and so I could see that. I'm prepared for that with those ones. I know they're much smaller ships, so I'm definitely prepared for that with Island and Grand. I mean, I'm going to be spending a lot of time on both those ships, so hopefully I don't hate it. I'm sure I won't. The Princess, even Caribbean Princess, even though it's my least favorite Princess ship, it still has the Princess experience, and so it's not like I didn't like Caribbean Princess. I just like other Princess ships better. We will be on the Sky for Norway next year. Very cool. I'm doing a Norwegian cruise on Sky. Not on Sky. I'm doing a Norwegian cruise on Island, but I'll get on Sky for a ton of cruises, ton of different cruises in June. I'll hop on Sky for a couple months or a month and a half. I'll be on Sky doing a bunch of different cruises. They're all different itineraries. Not one of the itineraries I'm doing is the same. So I'm pretty excited about that. A fungo sounds so good. It really is good. It really is a good. I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. What time is it? Okay, 1:30. If you have any questions, throw them out there. For those just joining, and maybe you haven't watched me before, my name's Kevin. I was in the military for 20 years, retired, went to law school, became a corporate lawyer, was sitting around at home after work every day watching YouTube travel videos like Karen, Nate, and my buddies from Beer for Breakfast, and Darren from Remote Darren. And one day I was like, you know what? I'm going to quit my job and go do that. So for the last 4 years, I've been traveling a different way every year. My first year, I traveled with a program called Remote Year, which was a group travel program, traveled with the same 35 people. We lived in a different country every 30 days. Traveled all over the world with them, which was awesome. COVID hit, and I was a new travel vlogger just starting to get some traction, and I didn't have a way to travel. So I got lucky, and I bought an RV van right at the right time, right when RV dealerships thought they were going to go out of business, so they were giving them away. But also right when people started watching YouTube videos on other ways to travel, like RVs. And so I just got a perfect storm there, which helped my channel grow really quickly at that time. And then I did that for a year. Then I went to Hawaii for a month while I was working on getting a long-term visa to Thailand. Got the long-term visa, flew to Thailand, quarantined for 2 weeks in a hotel. This was still during COVID. Bought a motorcycle and just lived all over Thailand, which was great. And then this year I decided I wanted to go back to sea. I was in the Navy for 20 years. And so this year I'm traveling on cruise ships. I think all of the ways I travel will be integrated into the way I make videos in the future. I definitely think I'll be cruising long after this year. I love it. And now that I'm starting to get high status on all the cruise lines. Status on cruise lines is lifetime. It's not like airlines where it resets. It's lifetime. So I think I'll be doing a bunch of multiple cruises every single year. And I'll probably try to do more unique itineraries, longer itineraries, world cruise type itineraries, stuff like that after this year. But yeah, Maxine said I started watching you during 2020. Yeah, my first year of travel was 2019, and then 2020 is when I got my RV. How did your mom react to you quitting the law to travel full time? She was not happy about it. Are you boarding today or tomorrow? I board tomorrow. She was not happy about it at first, although my YouTube plaque will be delivered tomorrow, I believe, to my mom's house, and I'm gonna have her open it and send me a picture of it or something. So maybe when she sees that tomorrow, she'll be accepting of it. But yeah. Would I accept a travel blogger job for TV if proposed? So I've actually had a couple different channels reach out to me in the past, Discovery Channel and Nat Geo, talking about maybe doing a pilot with me, both of them, and it just never came to fruition. So I get people reaching out to me sometimes with that kind of stuff, and the first time it ever happened to me was Nat Geo, National Geographic, and I got really excited about it. Now I know not to get excited about that stuff because it's probably some intern contacting you and they're proposing it at some kind of meeting with 75 other ideas. And so I don't really get too super excited about it anymore. But maybe at some point it happens, you know? I don't know. Maybe at some point it happens. But I kind of like not having a boss. I like being my own boss now. So I don't know if I would want to have a boss. And when you go work for a major network like that, you definitely have a boss. So unless they offer me like Anthony Bourdain type of gig, I would do that in a heartbeat. McKenna says, I just started watching at the beginning of Sky Princess. Very cool. Sounds like you might just get rid of long flights and add lots of relocation cruises. Yeah, I love the relocation cruises, actually. I love the idea of not having to take another flight to Asia, to be able to cruise across the Pacific. Those flights from the US to Asia are just brutal. And I always take business class, it's still brutal. It's just brutal on you. And taking a cruise ship, it just slowly adjusts you to it. Hey, Samantha's in the house. Speaking of van life buddies, how you doing, Samantha? If you guys haven't checked out Samantha, she's got a great YouTube channel. She's one of my favorites. She's such a real person, and she also knows a ton about travel. She's a flight. I don't know, I don't know what the proper terminology is nowadays. Flight attendant? Is that the proper terminology? But so she has a ton of travel knowledge. Like just the other day, she took a flight to, I like people that travel like this, just on a whim. She took a flight to Italy, and she probably doesn't know this, but I lived in Italy for 2 years when I was in the military. I was stationed there in the 90s. Before they had the euro, they were still the lira. And so I was really interested in those videos of her going over to Italy. And she went to Florence and Rome. I spent a ton of time in Rome. I lived in a small fishing village, there was a NATO base down there, in between Rome and Naples, about an hour and a half from Rome, an hour north of Naples. And I was in my early 20s. So I spent a ton of time in Rome as a young 20-year-old, living it up in Rome. So in the 90s, which was amazing. What's the smallest ship you have been on, and how did it compare to the Celebrity Princess ships? Smallest ship I've been on so far was, are you talking about in the Navy? If you're talking about my time in the Navy, 20 years in the Navy, I was stationed on a frigate, which is a pretty small ship, 220 person crew, very small ship. But if you're talking about cruising, the smallest ship I've been on so far is Enchantment of the Seas with Royal Caribbean, which I think holds like probably 2,500 maybe. But yeah, that was the smallest cruise ship I've been on. How does it compare? I like being on the smaller ships because there's just less people, obviously, when you pull into ports, which I really like. And it's just less, the crew just seems, they're less stressed, and customer service seems to be a little bit better. I think the amount of crew per passenger is a much higher number. The ratio is much better. But yeah, I like the smaller ships. I like the bigger ones too. I like Sky Princess. I liked MSC Meraviglia, which are huge mega ships. Yeah, I like them both. Sam is obsessed with Italy. Yeah, Italy's great. I have so many fond memories of there. I lived there from the age of 21 to 23, 24. So I was there, I came of age there. It was like a coming of age place. It was cool to live in a foreign country. The town I lived in Italy, like I said, was a small fishing village, so there was no McDonald's. There's none of that. There was no American stuff. My landlady was like a 90-year-old lady that I had to go, and every month I had to go to her house and pay my rent, it was that kind of thing. In lira, like I had to go and, and it was just an awesome experience. amazing time. It was right before cell phones became common, but Italy was well ahead of the United States with cell phone technology. So that was the first time I had like a regular cell phone, like we think of now. It was like a Nokia phone. It was before flip phones, and you used to go to the tobacco shops to get your minutes on your phone. It was just a cool experience, cool way to live. I loved it. I loved it over there. Yep. Almost got married to an Italian girl. All kinds of craziness. What's the smallest ship you have? Oh, I already answered that question, didn't I? Smallest ship I've been on. Let's see. Question: when you need to buy something between cruises, do you use Amazon lockers? So you can use Amazon lockers. I only used Amazon lockers once in Fort Lauderdale, which it was a flawless experience. I needed a piece of audio equipment. And so yeah, I had that Amazon locker, but normally most places you go, there's plenty of places to go and get stuff that you want. Like in Puerto Rico, right off the cruise ship is like a CVS, a Walgreens, I think it is actually. And in most cruise ports, you have the duty-free store, and you'll have, when you go to Mexico, the cruise ports, there'll be pharmacias, and you can get any kind of drug you want without prescription. So normally I don't do that. Everything I need, I just go and get. Usually when I pull back into the United States, like if I need toothpaste, if that's what you're talking about, like those kind of things, I'll go and get toothpaste. I'm very specific about the kind of toothpaste that I like. I use Pronamel, Sensodyne type toothpaste. I'm very specific on what I like. So I always go to like CVS and get that. But yeah. But I have used the lockers before, and they work great. Finn West says, aloha, Kevin. Just logged into YouTube and saw you were streaming. Yeah, I've been streaming today. I'm in a hotel. Cruising to Italy, but think I'd enjoy private group touring it on land better. Yeah, I mean, Italy is one of those places that I always tell people, like, if you're going to travel to Italy, try to like have 3 weeks of vacation time and just drive. Italy's such a diverse country. Like one city is so much different than the other. Like Florence is different than Rome. Rome's different than Milan. Milan's different than Venice. I mean, you know, Naples is Naples is way different. The food is way different than you think. What we as Americans think of as Italian food is actually Sicilian, and most of the Italian mainland does not have the Italian food that you think is Italian food. Spaghetti and meatballs, heavy red sauces. There's just not a lot of heavy red sauces in most of Italy. You may have crushed tomato sauces, but they'll be much thinner than you're used to. You're not going to get like ragu, right? Or that's Sicilian type of food, not mainland Italian. And also, Italy has a lot more seafood than you probably realize. It's along the coast, especially. It's mostly seafood based. Not, you know, you'll be hard pressed to find a chicken parmesan in Italy. You're much more likely to find shrimp or fish based proteins than chicken or veal or stuff that we're used to as Italian food in the U.S. is not what you'll get in most of mainland Italy. And so I always tell people to go and like at least have 3 weeks. If you have a month, that'd be even better. Spend some time in Tuscany. Spend some time on the other side, on the Adriatic side, where Venice, you know, side Venice is on. Not necessarily Venice, but other places on that side, because that's different too. The Adriatic side's much different than the Mediterranean side of Italy. So yeah, I always recommend. And then obviously I just talked about Sicily. Sicily is like a different country. It's like, I always tell people Sicily's kind of like Hawaii, right? Hawaii is part of the United States, but like culturally, it's like a different country. Food-wise, demographics, it's like a different country, even though it's part of the United States. And I would say Sicily is very similar to that as far as Italy goes. When do you cruise to Europe? At the end of May, I head over to Europe. I'll be in Europe for a little bit over 3 months cruising out of Europe. Super excited about it. Finn West moves to Thailand in 10 days. That's awesome. Got ready for retirement. Congratulations, man. You know how much I love Thailand. I mean, it's one of my favorite places on the planet Earth. Do you speak Italian? Io capito un po' l'italiano. It used to be much better when I lived there, but I tried some the other day because a lot of cruise ships have Italian crew members. Like most of the crew members in engineering and on the bridge are Italian. And so I tried to speak a little Italian the other day. I failed miserably, but I used to be okay. Why am I not on a ship? I'm switching ships. Life's a beach. I'll be on Norwegian Getaway tomorrow. Staying in my first solo cabin. Diva Donna said, yes, I did 3 weeks, Rome, Florence, Tuscany on a tour, then Gaeta. So Gaeta is where I lived. Gaeta, Italy, Formia and Gaeta are sister cities. I lived in Gaeta, Italy. I lived in Piccolo Alley, which is like an amazing, cool, what you think of as a picturesque Italian alley. It's called Via. Actually, it's nicknamed Piccolo Alley, but it's actually Via Independencia, Independence Street, basically Independence Avenue. But it's a cobblestone small alley. I mean, some cars go down it, but it's really hard to get a car down there because it's really thin. And it's just mom and pop shops everywhere. It was such an amazing place to live. I got so lucky in where I was stationed in the military. You know, I spent 9 years in Hawaii, years in Italy, Seattle. Yeah. I was really fortunate with most of my duty stations. But I spent my first 11 years outside of the continental United States. My favorite travel videos, my favorite travel videos of yours was your ones in Vietnam. Was it Halong Bay? Yeah, the smaller islands blew me away. Yeah, Halong Bay is amazing. Yeah, none of those videos got a lot of views, but those are some of my favorite videos that I made when I was in Asia. I knew someone on a tender there. Yep, I ate mostly seafood there. Yeah, so, yeah, I was on for those who don't know, this little town of Gaeta, Italy, although it's not so little anymore, but used to be pretty little when I was stationed there. There's a U.S. Navy warship stationed there. It's a NATO base, and it's kind of like the best kept secret in the Navy to be stationed there. It was an awesome thing. Not sure, oh, here we go. Let's see, not sure you're the marrying type, but if you ever meet someone, you will be able to woo them with stories of your adventures. Yeah, I mean, sometimes it's like a double-edged sword. Because a lot of times people just want to talk about your experiences, and I kind of feel bad about that, because you want to learn about that person too, but they're kind of like I went to Cancun once, and then they feel like inadequate with their stories. I don't know. It's kind of double-edged sword, that kind of thing. Join the Navy, see the world. I still think that's one of the best recruiting slogans. Yeah. I mean, that's why I joined the Navy. I grew up in the Midwest, and I was like, I'm not going to join the Army and get stationed in Missouri. So, what branch should I join that guarantees that I'll be somewhere exotic? And so I joined the Navy. What transportation are you using tomorrow to Port Canaveral? I'll just take an Uber probably. I don't know if the airport might have a shuttle. and if they do, I'll take their shuttle. But my boarding time's not till like 1, so I'll probably stay in the hotel until like noon. Check out whatever the latest checkout they'll let me have, and then it's like an hour Uber. I don't even think it's that long. And then I'll go to the ship and hop on. I'm not like super stressing it, to be honest with you. My first time on Norwegian though, so I don't know exactly how good they are. I can't read names because it's really bright right now. But someone says, "Hey Kevin, I'm currently on Hal Zandam, loving it. Cheating on Princess. Are you doing any house ships?" I don't have any house ships yet. I did have one booked, but I canceled it when I found a better price. I was actually going to take Holland America over to Australia, but I found a better price on Princess, so I had only put a deposit down, a refundable deposit, so I canceled it. But I'll definitely take some Holland America. That might be the way I go to Antarctica because they have a lot of good cruises down in South America. So I'll definitely go on Holland America. I mean, I own the stock, the Carnival stock, so I get some bennies for that on Holland, and so yeah, I'll definitely take a Holland America cruise. What is your NCL itinerary this next week? So I'm looking at it right now. That's why I'm looking over the side. It's Amber Cove, Dominican Republic, St. Thomas, St. John's, St. Lucia. I haven't been to St. Lucia yet. St. Martin, which I have been, the Netherlands side, the Dutch side, and then San Juan, Puerto Rico, which I'm always a fan of because I get to go and have mofongo at Casa Luna. So, and then after San Juan, Puerto Rico, then Grand Stirrup Cay, Bahamas, which I've been to a ton. I'm so ready to move over and start cruising out of Europe. I wouldn't say I'm burnt out of the Caribbean, but I wish I would have done one less month in the Caribbean. And originally that's what I was going to do, but I got on that fire and ice cruise, to Iceland and Norway, the Norwegian fjords, and that just happens to start a little bit later, because it's so cold up there earlier. And so I'm in the Caribbean longer than I was supposed to be. But I'm excited to get out of the Caribbean at the end of May. And head over to another part of the world. Hey, Let's Go Travel Tips is in the house. What's going on, guys? If you guys have not, I haven't even mentioned them this whole live stream. I can't believe that. If you guys haven't checked out Let's Go Travel Tips, probably one of my favorite cruising YouTube channels. Gordon and Allison have been super gracious to me, letting me post on their Facebook page and build like a little bit of a cruise ship audience. I've met a bunch of, I meant to tell Gordon and Allison this, but when I was on Caribbean Princess last month, I met a ton of people that said, "Oh, I found you on Let's Go Travel Tips." They mentioned you in one of their videos or something to that effect. And so you have a bunch of fans throughout the ships I've been on, which was really cool. You're I don't know if this is going to offend you or not, Allison, but a lot of people refer to you as the redhead. They'll say, "Oh, I found you on that Redhead's YouTube channel." And I know they're talking about you. I don't know if that offends you or not. Hopefully not. But I thought that was funny. They always say, "Oh, the person that does Princess Cruises, the redheaded lady." That's what they say. They'll say that a lot. I'll be, "Oh, Let's Go Travel Tips." And I'll be, "Oh, yeah, Let's Go Travel Tips." But yeah, you guys should check them out if you haven't. You can tell someone cares about you if they hang around your whole ADD stories. Oh, yeah. My brother honeymooned in St. Lucia. I haven't been to St. Lucia yet. It's my first time, so I'm excited about that. Oh, that was Let's Go Travel Tips that asked what my NCL itinerary was. Yeah, it's a good itinerary. I mean, it's a 10-day cruise, and we're going to Dominican Republic, Amber Cove, which I've been to a million times, Any of the saints I always love. St. Thomas, St. John's, St. Lucia, St. Martin, and then San Juan, which I always love because I go to Casa Luna and have mofongo, like I mentioned, and then Grand Stirrup Cay, Bahamas. I could take or leave that one, but although I might go scuba diving there, that's what that place is famous for. But someone said, glad you're fully recovered. Oh, that's Lee Joyce. What's going on, Lee Joyce? Speaking of Hawaii. Yeah, I feel I'm almost fully recovered. I'm still a little. I think my gut health isn't that great after that experience. I need to get some of the like kombucha or something like that to rebuild my good gut bacteria. If that makes sense. I think all my good gut bacteria got killed off. Any cruises you would recommend out of Asia? Any cruises I'd recommend out of Asia. So if you can, I would say there's a lot of really good ones out of Singapore because you'll hit so many different cool countries. You know, you'll obviously be in Singapore, then you'll hit Thailand, Malaysia, Vietnam, Bali, maybe Indonesia, Bali. But yeah, you'll hit some cool itineraries. Obviously, you can go out of Japan, but normally those are going to be Japan Isle tours, so kind of like British Isle, but Japan Isle, which is also really cool, especially if you're there during like the cherry blossoms. Oh my God, it's so windy. So windy here right now. Man, it's crazy. Orlando's got all kinds of tornado warnings, and it's just super windy here right now. But yeah, where was I going with that? I forgot where I was going with that. Anyway, oh yeah, we were talking about cruises in Asia. Yeah, you can do that one. They also have a cruise. They also have a cruise that goes from Japan to Singapore. That would probably be pretty cool too. But yeah, you said cherry blossoms. Yeah, I mean the cherry blossom festivals in Japan are just amazing. I mean, there's a really good one in DC. I don't know if you know this, but the country of Japan gave DC all those cherry blossoms way back in the day. And so there's always the cherry blossoms blooming in DC, which is amazing. But I mean, it's all over Japan, cherry blossom festivals. So if you can go during that time, it's a really good time. Unless you got really bad allergies, then not so good. Someone said, looked at Singapore cruises. They're all short cruises, 3 or 4 days. Yeah, try to find the princess ones out of Singapore or Kuala Lumpur. They're usually much longer. You normally though, like, so Royal Caribbean cruises out of there, and those are 3-4 day cruises. So you'd have to do a bunch of back-to-back to do a bunch of stuff. But there are some Princess and Holland America cruises that go out of Singapore that have pretty cool itineraries, like 14-day itineraries. There's one like 21-day itinerary that goes down to Bali that looks really cool. When you go to Cruise Plum, search Asia, and you'll find a bunch of those. Azamara has longer Singapore cruises. There you go. That's another cruise line I got to go on. I got to go on Azamara. Yogurt is good for gut health. You know, I hate yogurt. Allison always cringed as a little girl being called red, but when I told her how much her lovely red hair attracted me, that's all changed. Well, that's good. Well, she is affectionately referred to by a lot of people that forget, you know, people always forget my YouTube channel name. By people who watch a lot of YouTube but can't, you know, keep the name straight. They'll always, it's happened multiple times, that's why I bring it up. They'll say, yeah, I saw you on that channel, you know, with the redhead. And I'll be like, oh, Allison from Let's Go Travel Tips. So I'll be like, yeah. But she's been affectionately referred to that, not in a disrespectful way, in a nice way, a few times actually. That's why I bring it up. Have you tried Viking cruises? No, I'm definitely interested in Viking cruises. I want to do like a Mississippi cruise. I'm from, you know, I was born and raised on the Mississippi. So I'd really like to do a Mississippi cruise. I was going to do a Christmas cruise with my mom, but she decided she wanted to go to Venice instead. And that was going to probably be through Viking. That's where I was looking mostly. But yeah, I definitely want to do a Viking cruise for sure. Absolutely. I'm fortunate that people seem to remember cruising for one. Yeah, well, you don't show yourself a lot on the cruise, on your cruise channel. And so I think like the default is to know you by cruising for one, where, you know, people always forget my channel name. They'll just say Kevin, right? So what about coconut yogurt? I don't like yogurt. I just never have. It always tastes like rotten milk to me. I know it's one of those weird things, but I just never have liked it. Do you like kimchi? I love kimchi. Love me some kimchi. So yeah, I should probably order like some of those like kimchi burritos from those specialty. I bet you there's one around here somewhere I could find on Uber Eats. Order a couple kimchi burritos or something. I should do that actually. That's a good idea. If I missed your question, please ask it again. Or if you have a question, you can ask it. How about sauerkraut? I'm not a huge sauerkraut fan. I don't hate it, but I wouldn't. It's not something I would choose. Yeah, I just don't like yogurt. I know a lot of people love yogurt, but I just have never liked it. Yeah, I know it's healthy, but I just have never liked it. I have this spinny chair, and I'm like fighting the desire to do that. Let's see, sauerkraut in Germany. Yeah, I'd like to try it in Germany, obviously. That would be good. All right, I think it looks like we're out of questions, and I don't want to take up too much of anybody's time today, so I think I'm going to call this a live stream. Thank you, everyone that showed up and hung out, all of the moderators, obviously. Oh, wait, hold on. Kevin, as a New Yorker, Sancrini. Oh, Nathan's Hot Dog. Yeah, I like Nathan's Hot Dog. All right. Thank you, everyone, for showing up and hanging out with me today. Tomorrow, I will be on the Norwegian Getaway. I don't think I'm going to do a live there because my boarding time is so late. And I got to figure out the internet on there because it's super expensive. It's like $30 a day. So I don't think I'm going to do a live stream from there, but maybe one of the port visits, I'll do a live stream during that cruise. And I'll definitely give you updates on Norwegian, how I like it, and all that kind of stuff. So take care, everyone. See you on the next video.